morning. Welcome to the St. Louis University School of Medicine Class of 2022 Match Day Ceremony. My name is Dr. Jamie Sotherell. I'm the Associate Dean of Student Affairs for SLU School of Medicine, and we are so excited to be here celebrating with you. For the students, this is what you've worked for. This is what you spent the last 4 years gearing up for, finding out where you're moving on to residency. For us, we're excited because this is our first in-person match day that we've had in 3 years. And trust me when I tell you that calling names virtually isn't quite the same as seeing you come up with your walk-up songs. So we're very excited for this. As a starting point, I want to introduce your class presidents. So soon-to-be doctors, Tajay Walden and Kristen Woody. Come on up.
Hi everyone, we would like to welcome you to the Class of 2022 Match Day Ceremony. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Taj.
And we just first want to start by thanking all of our amazing volunteers for making this event possible.
And we would also like to congratulate everyone on making it this far. We've arrived.
We also would like to give a special thanks to Dr. Sotherall for all the countless hours that he put into making sure this day was super special for each and every one of us.
We would also like to thank all of our volunteers and speakers today for making this day possible. And again, we want to say congratulations, everyone. And to kick things off, we would like to introduce our Associate Dean of Clinical Curriculum, Father Dr. Duffy, to give an opening prayer.
Let us pray. Almighty and ever-loving God, source of all healing and every good gift that fills this earth, you bless your creation with your presence. We lift up to you this day every creature that suffers, as our profession struggles to contain the impact of the pandemic and the violence of war. As we gather for this match, we thank you, Lord. We thank you for calling forth servants among your people, servants who have learned to generously respond to others who suffer in body and soul. We ask you, Lord, to bless their hands with gentleness, bless their minds with clarity, and bless their hearts with deep, profound compassion. We ask you to fashion them in your own image, that they might be your presence to their patients throughout the earth. Surrounded by their family and friends, professors and colleagues, let them remember your many gifts that have blessed and supported them during the long road of their formation thus far. And send forth your Spirit as you send forth these future physicians to their new residencies. Bless them mightily as they serve your people in the ministry of your healing. In your holy name, Lord, we pray. Amen. Next, we will have remarks from the Senior Associate Dean of Undergraduate Medical Education, Dr. Miller.
Good morning, class of 2022. How you feeling? Yeah, all right. Good morning to the family and friends of the class of 2022. It's great to have you here in person, and it's great to see all of your beautiful faces. So, wow. It is truly an honor and privilege to be speaking to you today, match day, after everything that you've been through. You know, there were points of time where we weren't sure if we were going to get here. You guys have been through so much. And we've had the privilege of watching you face down that adversity and persevere. We saw you dig in your heels. We saw you mature rapidly as men and women and future physicians. And we saw you come through when we needed you most. And more than any class before you, you have earned and deserved today. And let's think a little bit. Let's think back just for a minute. Let's think back to March 2020. It is a lot to ask a medical student to study and take step one and transition into their clinical years of medical school in a normal year. That is one of the most stressful and challenging times in your entire medical career. And then throw in a global pandemic. And the tables have been flipped upside down. What was known, what was planned, what was scheduled was absolute chaos. We didn't know if some of you were going to get a chance to take step one. You remember that. We didn't know when you were going to start clerkships. We didn't know what tomorrow was going to bring. But finally, things came around. They did. Clerkships opened. And you started them. You were brave. Because transitioning into the clinical environment as a medical student, that is fraught with uncertainty and anxiety and all kinds of stress in itself. And the healthcare world that you were stepping into when you began clerkships was completely different than it was 3 months before. And so the normal uncertainty that you would experience because you're a new clinical student was amplified by the uncertainty that all of us were dealing with and the world was dealing with, trying to fight this virus that we were just learning about. And you guys braved that, and you braved it well. Adversity, like we've been through, it can harden you. But I look around this room, and I know that not to be the case. Adversity, on the flip side of that coin, can also cause you to grow. I do indeed know that to be the case amongst the class of 2022. It was a rough go, I know that. But iron sharpens iron, and your medical career was forged in the COVID pandemic. And for that, you are better, you are stronger, and you are more resilient. And so whatever comes your way, an intern in residency, what obstacles are thrown your way, you're so much better prepared to handle them. And more will come. That's the nature of the profession. That's the nature of residency. That's the nature of internship. You have chosen to do this. But man, your class, wow, you're going to take those head on. And just like you did with this pandemic and everything you went through, you'll weather that storm. We've gotten to know your class quite well. We're quite fond. We love your class. It is filled with talented and amazing people. And we cannot wait to see where you're going to go. Because we know when you get there, you're going to touch so many lives, decrease the suffering of so many, do so much good. But for now, let's let tomorrow take care of tomorrow. Today is yours. Today is your day. You deserve this. You have earned this. And so celebrate with your classmates, the wonderful group of individuals who have gone through this with you. Revel in their success. Revel in your own success. And from that chaos and uncertainty from 2 years ago, today you will finally get that certainty that you've been looking for. So celebrate with those around you. Your accomplishments are amazing on so many levels. On behalf of the administration, I cannot tell you how proud we are. So here's to you, class of 2022. Congratulations. Here's to a job well done. It is my privilege to introduce the Dean of the School of Medicine, Dr. Christine Jacobs.
Good morning. Physicians in training, I'm honored to be with you for this exciting and rather nerve-wracking event. You're wrapping up your time as a medical student, and today you find the key to your residency journey. After your applications, the interviews, submitting your match preferences, a complex algorithm has determined your fate, so well designed that the researchers who developed the concept received the Nobel Prize in 2012. Today and in the weeks ahead, you'll be celebrating the culmination of these 4 years of work, of drinking from the fire hose in your preclinical years, of the long days on the wards and the clinics, the excitement of making a diagnosis, the sorrow of losing a patient, the friendships made, and the hours spent. Today's a really special gathering. Look around you. Today, beside you, are a fabulous and talented group of students who've traveled this journey with you. Around the room are your faculty who've taught you and challenged you for these 4 years. And by your side are your loved ones and friends who supported you through the process and share this victory with you. When you open your envelope today, all of these people will share in your achievement. For those of you who will train at SLU, we welcome you to our community in this new dimension. For those of you who leave, we hope that you will carry us with you in your clinical skills, your tenacity, the resilience that Dr. Miller mentioned that you carry with you and you've developed over the past years. And as you await this wonderful news, congratulations on this excellent day. Best luck to you.
Almost time. Not quite yet. Okay, so the class of 2018, this was my first year as in the Office of Student Affairs. The class leadership asked me as part of match day, immediately before I called up names of students to come get their envelopes, they asked that I would come up and give an overview of the match and this complex algorithm that Dr. Jacobs alluded to, for the benefit of the family members, friends, significant others in the room that aren't part of medicine and think this is an odd way to apply for a job. And I said sure, and I quickly realized that that was probably the hardest thing I was ever asked to do, because nobody in the room wants to listen to me go through the algorithm at all when the anticipation of I'm about to call your name to get an envelope is minutes away. So where I went with that, at the risk of putting my job on the line, I allowed my sarcasm to take full reign, and I created this really sarcastic take on the match day process with the fear that I could lose my job over this. And what happened after that was every subsequent year asked me to give that overview again. So I asked Dr. Jacobs, please do not fire me for going through a somewhat sarcastic take on the match day. Seniors, this is the last slideshow you will ever see of me, from me. Hopefully not because I'm about to be fired, but hopefully because you're about to graduate. Okay, so fourth year medical students, you've heard me say this before, that the metaphor that I like to draw to the match is this. It's basically March Madness. Now, let me draw the links with March Madness here. Well, obviously, here we are on middle part of March, and March Madness is literally happening right now. So for those of you that have your phones out, I'm guessing you're probably checking scores and checking your bracket right now. March Madness is literally happening right now. Okay, so we have that obvious link with the metaphor of March. But let me walk you through, for those that aren't into college basketball, how March Madness works and the metaphor that will link with your process as a senior medical student. Okay, so at the beginning of the season, we're going to rewind to the fall, we've got these college basketball teams that they want to get in the tournament. They want to get as part of March Madness. They want to get in the big dance, they call that. And so how do you position yourself for getting into this basketball tournament? Well, you start building a resume, they call it. And so you start accruing wins, and ooh, that's a really good team that they just built. That's building towards their resume, so that when we get to early part of March, now there's this committee. Let's put that in quotes, this committee, because nobody really knows how the committee works, but there's this committee then that weighs the pros and cons of each team, and they decide if a team's going to make it into March Madness and where they're going to play and who they're going to play. And we get to Selection Sunday, which happened to be just this past Sunday. And if you turn on the TV, what you see on the news is cameras from the locker rooms of these teams, and all the teams huddled around the TV, and then it gets revealed where they're going to go and who they're going to play, and it's pandemonium excitement. You see the parallels here with Match Day, where we are. So what I want to do is if March Madness starts in the fall and builds this resume towards basically right now, let's rewind and walk you through your process over the last 4 years and what leads up to now and sort of the match process. So your journey, all of you, your journey started here. Okay, so now we're rewinding 4 years. It's now late summer 2018. Unless you're an MD PhD student, in which case it was probably late summer, 1998 that you started your journey? So 4 years ago, so your journey started in college church. Okay, so white coat ceremony during M1 orientation. Everybody's nervous, everybody's getting to know each other and trying to figure out who each person is, who's going to be my friend group. And white coat ceremony is this great event where we give you the symbol of the profession. We give you the white coat. We give you the cloak of the symbol of the profession. And you're indoctrinated into this profession of medicine. We didn't use the white coat all that much for the first 2 years. And I'm guessing for you senior students, your white coat right now is a little more beat up from the last couple years compared to what you got back in white coat ceremony. But that's where your journey started. And then you start on into the preclinical curriculum, and you go through weeder classes like gross anatomy, and you're working your way through the preclinical curriculum to the point where now you get to here, USMLE Step 1. Okay, so this is, for parents, this is ridiculous acronym number 1 of 532, United States Medical Licensing Exam Step number 1, the board exam that you take at the end of your preclinical years, so that you can then get into the clinical environment and so that you could set foot in this brand new shiny hospital, SLU Hospital, which as a pediatric person almost makes me want to take care of grown-up patients, almost. But alas, I'm here at Cardinal Glennon. So, but you set foot in the clinical environment where now you're rotating through the hospital, you're rotating through the clinics, you're putting into practice all of this preclinical curriculum that you've committed to memory, this big mountain that you had to get over with Step 1. You're going through you're learning how to be a doctor. You're in the clinical environment now. Okay, so as you're navigating this then, now we're about halfway through third year, and now you're trying to figure out what journey am I going to go? Now the students have all heard me say a number of times that most medical students, the vast majority of medical students, change their mind multiple times over the course of their training of which specialty they want to go to. But now we're rewinding not too far back. You're halfway through your third year. Which journey do I take? Which path do I take? Which specialty do I apply to? How do I figure out what I'm going to do as I move forward? And so we're getting late in third year now. You're starting to make your decision. Now we're on the brink of fourth year, where the majority of you, not all, but the majority of you have made up your mind on what specialty you're going to go into. And then we start introducing you to acronym number 2. ERAS, the Electronic Residency Application Service. Now you all call this ERAS. There's no hyphen there, so I call it ERAS. At any rate, this is how you're going to put your application together for residency. And on the surface, this makes a lot of sense. It's a standard application for any specialty I apply to. So now, literally, we're rewinding not terribly far. This is what the rising fourth year class is dealing with right now, is starting to think about putting their application together. That all sounds well and good, but the reality is, as you get into it, is every specialty, well, we have all these new things coming down the pike, supplemental applications, how do I preference signal, and different specialties doing different things, and it gets a little bit more complicated as you're going into it, but you're putting your application together, and so it starts to look kind of like this, where you're ready to pull your hair out about how you're putting your application together, how all these pieces are coming together, and oh, by the way, an important part of your applications is letters of recommendation. You need recommendations from faculty, right? How comfortable was it to go up to a faculty member and ask, hey, I know you're so busy, but will you write a letter to endorse me? So it kind of feels like this, like you're begging and pleading. Okay, you're collecting your letters of recommendation. We're putting the pieces together for your application. But you know what? Asking those letters, that's not actually the worst part of the application process. The worst part of the application process is you have to write a one-page essay on whatever you want, and we're going to give you zero direction about what to write about. The personal statement, which looks about like that. Most of us are in medicine because we do better at taking tests than we do writing, but as part of your residency application, you have to write a one-page essay on whatever you want without a whole lot of direction there, and you get a lot of writer's block there. Okay, so I got the pieces of my application together, and again, we're not going that far back now. We're going back like end of last summer. Okay, so how do I figure out what programs to apply to? How do I figure out where I'm going to go? Well, okay, we got lots of additional silly named sort of places to go for that. Let's start with Frida. What is Frida? No, we're not going to an artist. We're not going Frida Kahlo. No, we're not going to actresses. We're not going Frida Pinto. We're going to the, oops, went too fast. There we go. That was ironic. We're going to what has to be one of the worst named acronyms of all time, the Fellowship and Residency Electronic Interactive Database, FRIDA. Okay, there's ridiculous acronym number whatever we're up to. But I'm researching programs. I'm putting my list of programs together. You saw the next slide already where I'm going with this, and it's starting to dawn on you that, wait a second, none of this is free. And of course, you're spending a lot of money to be in medical school, and so the Benjamins are starting to add up here. Now, of course, your class didn't have in-person interviews. Pluses and minuses of that. My goodness, we're advancing too quick. Okay, apparently I'm talking too much with my hands. Okay, so your class didn't have in-person interviews, and so you save some money that way. But nonetheless, Eris isn't free, and the dollars are starting to add up to the point where we have financial aid meet with you and talk about specific loans to fourth-year medical students to help finance this expensive enterprise. Okay, now we're into interview season. If you ask any faculty member to describe interview season, and this is an in-person season, which of course you didn't have, but if you take a faculty member and take them out of the hospital and plop them in at any random time of the year, you can tell when interview season is because it's black suit season. When there's groups of black suits wandering around the hospital, and this is all the fourth-year students, this is you in a handful of months as interns, you can tell when interview season is because it looks like this. There's a whole bunch of black suits wandering around the hospital. You plop a faculty member into the hospital anywhere from mid-October through mid-January, and they're like, oh, we're in the middle of interview season. That's black suit season. Well, you didn't have that. Your interview season looked more like this. So you had a virtual season. Now, there's a plus-minus here. There's a plus-minus here. The benefit of a virtual season, aside from saving money on travel, the benefit of a virtual season is, well, you know what? I only really have to get dressed from the waist up. So we all know that in terms of haircuts, I'm going to go in a different direction here. In terms of haircuts, we refer to the mullet as business in front, party in back, right? Well, I would refer to electronic interview season, virtual interview season, as the interview equivalent of the mullet. This is business waist up, air conditioned down below. Okay, so we get to the end of interview season, and now you got to put this rank list together. I got to start ranking my programs. Okay, so for family members that aren't part of medicine, how does this work? Well, all the programs that the students interviewed at, they're going to put this list together. Meanwhile, all the programs that all the interview applicants that the programs interviewed are putting their list together, and there's a deadline by which these rank lists have to be submitted. And students perseverate over this, and it's a big deal. What's number 1 versus number 2? I will say that when we get down to like what's number 13 versus number 14 tends to be like, well, they have Mountain Dew and the fountains sodas in the cafeteria, whereas this program has Diet Mountain Dew. But we have to put this rank list together, and so now you're up against the clock, the deadline, when the rank lists have to be submitted. You've all heard me tell my story of Jamie Sutherall, fourth-year medical student, waited literally until the 11th hour to put on my rank list and got super, super nervous because every student in the country was trying to put in their rank list and I couldn't get on the website. But so we beg and plead you to put that in a week in advance, but you put in this rank list. Okay, so then we get into the match algorithm. So this is what Dr. Jacobs referred to, and she was sincere in that the creators of this won the Nobel Prize for putting this together. But none of us really know how it works. But what I would tell you is that I actually got a picture of the supercomputer, the computer that spit out the envelope where you're going to go. I got a bunch of envelopes up here that spit out these envelopes. The computer that decided your fate. Want to see what it looks like? I imagine some guy with a floppy disk sticking it in there and out pops an envelope and that's where you're going to go. Okay, it's a little more complicated than that. Now, I want to share I want to turn this in a little bit of a dark direction. I want to share some bad news with you so that we can sort of build this up in a positive direction then. Full disclosure, I withheld this information from you as we were going through interview season. Now, every year there's more and more applicants to the match, to the NRMP, another one of these acronyms, the National Residency Matching Program. This year was followed suit of previous years where there were more applicants this year than any other year. And unfortunately, as we're going through this pandemic, everybody tightening their belts, budget cuts, et cetera, the number of residency slots has dwindled quite a bit. I didn't share this with you because I didn't want to cause a panic in your class, but let me share with you the data. The total number of applicants this year into the match, 2.5 billion. The number of residency positions in the country across all specialties, total number of residency slots, 42. So for like 2 or 3 of you in the room, you actually have an envelope with a residency program on it. The rest of you, when you open your envelope, what you're going to see is an invitation to join a Jelly of the Month club. So now we get to Monday. Monday you find out yes or no, did I match? And then we enter this week called SOAP. Well, that sounds good, right? SOAP? I mean, SOAP makes you clean. Like, that's a good thing, right? Another acronym, the Supplemental Offer and Acceptance Program. SOAP is not a pleasant process at all, and they should probably name it something having to do with this. But this was the week that we just navigated on through SOAP, and that started on Monday, but we got to the other side of it, and now here we are at 10:32 on March 18th, 2020, which brings us back to March Madness. Here you are. You spent 4 years of medical school building your resume, doing all these different rotations, doing all these other extracurriculars, things that you're building towards, so that you could submit this application into the match process, so that today, now we cut to the locker room of a basketball team and the euphoria and excitement when the basketball team finds out where they're going in this March Madness. In about an hour and a half, you're going to open up your envelopes and you're going to find out where you're going, which takes us to, not the end, very sensitive clicker, which takes us to this. The single most anticipated envelope you will ever open in your entire life. I got a box of them on the podium here. They got your names on them. And we're going to call you up in half an hour to start getting these envelopes. I don't want to make this more dramatic than necessary. Suffice to say that the anticipation of today is palpable and it's exciting. And I can't wait to call you up to get your envelope, the single most anticipated envelope that you'll get your entire life, that when you open it, it's going to tell you the name of the place that you're going that's going to be on your CV for the rest of your professional career. Okay, that's the last slideshow I will ever give you, class of 2022. And Dr. Jacobs, I would ask you to have some leniency and not fire me for being sarcastic during a formal event like this. In this very fancy box, very fancy, spare no expense, we got envelopes with your names on it. All right, so as we get started here, let me set some ground rules. A couple housekeeping items. Number one, at noon Eastern, which is like 2 minutes away, students are going to get an email from the NRMP saying, congratulations, you have matched at. I strongly encourage you, turn off your phones or don't look at your email. Let's do this together. And in fact, you know, in a matter of a couple minutes, some of you, you're going to start getting your envelopes. You're going to start getting your envelopes, and there's nothing stopping you. I'm not going to jump off the stage and tackle you if you try to open your envelope. What I would appeal to you is, let's enjoy this moment together, enjoy the songs and the festivities of your classmates as they walk up to get their envelopes, and then at noon, our time, 1 Central, we'll all open our envelopes together and celebrate together. I'm not going to stop you if you check your email or if you open up the envelope, but I would appeal to you to let's do this together. Number one. Number two, we got to move quickly. I got a lot of names to call, and if the goal is to do that in an hour, so for those of you in the back, please expedite your pace coming up to the front. If you're sitting in the middle of a row, please move quickly and try not to trip as you're coming out to the aisles. But let's move quickly here. And then number three, I need some help. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to call your name, and you're going to come, your song's going to play, and you're going to come down, and this is all randomized, so this is not alphabetical at all, it's randomized. You're going to come down to your song playing, but I need some help to hand your envelopes over since I'm standing up here on the podium. And so your class has requested 4 faculty members help me distribute the envelopes. So per the request of your classmates, I'd like to ask Dr. Linda Morrison, Dr. Sarah Barnett. Dr. Morrison and Dr. Barnett will stand in the center here. So for students coming down the center aisle, they will hand you your envelope. Dr. Lauren Schwartz, if you can go off on one side of the stage, and Dr. Tyler Deshawn on the other side of the stage. It is 11 o'clock on the dot. Are we ready? In no particular order, Naja Pejovich.
Seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago. But all will be okay, I move on each and every day.
Rohan Prasad.
Stay way back a year ago. I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine.
Mohammed Safar.
Just to say I'm alright. And for the first time in a long time, I'm alright. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago.
Anhauser.
I'll be okay, I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago.
Hunter Hicks.
I ain't going back, I'm not falling. I'll push all my chips and call all in. I'll bet on myself, you keep stalling. I hear destiny and it's calling. I'll keep my head up high through the downs and
Rishabh
outs.
Kodia.
Still nobody knows, but I'ma choose what's right and take what comes and goes. And ain't no one in life holding me back no more. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago.
Pranav Y. Somasekar.
I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago.
Adam Walu. Alejandra Majorga Hernandez.
back a year ago.
Brandon McMaster. Sushant Koirala. Amisha Patel.
Like we out.
Agasai Yalavarthi. Peter Hajwe. Anna Sykes. Jordan Godin. Nadia Michelle. Aman Patel. Joy Lynn. Maureen Penn. Jacob Dodd. Gopala Kanduri. Neil Robinson. Amy Chen. Lee Fleming. Samantha Ong. Savannah Lore. Hira. Sarah Magnuson. Jeremy McDuffie. Bowie. Michael Berenson. Jacob Roberts. Daniel Spray. William Pan. LaDan Hyrie. Justin Meyer. Christina Papari. Nick Williams. Roxana Apostol. Lon Seagal. Brianna Millicent. Sydney Mergati. Charlotte Marks. Alec Hansen. Cynthia Gaines. Andrea Aletto. Manasa Reddy. Michael Hager. Kevin Liu. Olivia Wilson. Teresa Devine. Lisa Tenorio. And Geeta Satish. Sun Crushy. not. Chunchal Colon. Ted Schmidt. Tyler Breckenkamp. Vimita Patel. Kira Feldman. Hannah Lee. Annie Meyer. Carla Formoso Pico. Elizabeth Blaylock. Daniel Cancilla. Victoria Sansasi. Andre Joseph III. Nicole Jewett. Bridget Devlin. Wilson Wu. Michael Suna. Austin Lai. Paul Kazrazadeh. Jason Koken. Skebi Liberatos. Eric Carnivali. David Weinstein. Paul Hahn. Harriet Appia. Apshara Ravichandran. Julia Siglensky. Hale Benjamin Martin. Aiden Michael McGowan. Julia Larson. Joseph Colarelli. Tim Suick. Tara Zahed. Nick Steinauer. Shuja Lee. Denier Ong. Adil Khan. Lauren Anderson. Courtney Bergman. Divya Valuri. Alan G. Joanna Dembeck. Stephen Grote. Mitt Shah. Justin Huey. Daniel Pike. Lucas Butke. Brittany Demir. Jacob Clark. Brian Douglas. Rachel Newton. Courtney Elizabeth Cosby. Soumya Ramareddy. Michael Musumechi. Melanie Sue. Eugene Vivian Dindang. Julie Jin. Grace Waldy. Kanav Gupta. Beth Erickson. Ryan Plunkett. Jonathan Bergman. Maggie Wong. Quinn Kissenfeger. Mark Zamella. Danielle Rink. Susan Sirocco. Kristen Carla Woody. Alex McCammett. Dylan Leonard. Kevin Bockerstedt. William Satterwhite. Emily Shue. Joe Elfrink. You've all got your envelopes. Okay, so on the count of five. On the count of five, you ready? Everybody get ready? Everybody get ready? Count with me. 5, 4,